All right, let's get right into it. Today we're unpacking a really powerful analysis that breaks down the mechanics of political polarization, and it makes a pretty bold claim that what we're all seeing on our screens every single day might just be one of the biggest tricks ever played on the public. The source material we're digging into today kicks off with a question that honestly should stop all of us in our tracks. It was sparked by a real event. People online actually celebrating the murder of a political figure. It really forces you to ask, how on earth did we get to a place where something so horrific becomes a team sport?
And this is really the heart of the observation. The analysis argues that this reaction, or the lack of one, is a sign that we've crossed into territory that is way, way darker than just politics. It's described as a new low, a moment where the mask slips and violence is just another part of the daily noise.
So how did we end up here? Well, the source proposes this fascinating and pretty provocative theory that the main conflict we see plastered all over our TVs and our social media feeds isn't the real conflict at all. It's framed as this carefully put together distraction fireworks show. All the constant outrage, the shouting matches on the news, the endless online battles. The idea is that it's all designed to keep our eyes locked on each other while the real game is being played somewhere else entirely. This slide just lays it out so clearly. We are constantly being sold the distraction fight you see on the left. But according to this analysis, the actual fight, the one that really matters, is the one on the right. Basically all of us, the general public with our shared interests, versus a very small dug-in power structure that gets stronger the more we're divided.
But here's the thing. This division isn't some happy accident that just happens to benefit the powerful. No, the analysis we're exploring claims it's an engineered process, and it follows a very specific, very deliberate formula.
Now this is where it gets pretty chilling. The analysis makes a direct connection between the methods used to divide us and something called textbook psychological operations, or PSYOPs. These are tactics literally from military manuals, designed to isolate a target, fill them with outrage, and create a tribal us versus them mindset. And this slide just perfectly illustrates the three-step formula the source presents. First, you get isolation. You're encouraged not to even talk to the other side. Second, echo chambers. Algorithms make damn sure you only hear things that confirm what you already believe, which just concentrates the rage. And third, the tribal script. Suddenly, every little issue is framed as this epic battle between the righteous us and the evil them. The analysis says it's basically the same formula you'd use to build a dangerous cult. So who's pushing this formula? The analysis points its finger squarely at the media, arguing that it's stopped being a watchdog and has become more of a propaganda machine. It makes money off of outrage, so it shows you this carefully curated nightmare reel, the absolute craziest, most extreme voices from the other side, and makes you think that's what half the country is like. It literally feeds us a diet of enemies. Okay, so this brings us to the most important question of all. If the public is being distracted and divided and fed all this outrage, who's actually benefiting from all the chaos? Because as this analysis points out, you and I, regular people, we don't profit from hating our neighbors. It doesn't put food on the table or keep our families safe. So the question remains, who is cashing in on all of this division? The analysis actually gives this group a name, the covert elite. And this isn't some comic book villain hiding in the shadows. It's a real group of people, CEOs, the mega donors who famously give money to both parties, career politicians, and the giant media corporations themselves. According to the source, these are the folks who win no matter who's in office. So here's the crucial point, the absolute bottom line. Their goal isn't about left or right. It's not about principles or ideology. It's about one thing, control. Division is called the cheapest, most effective tool ever invented for keeping that control. Because while we're all down here fighting with each other, they're the ones writing the rules of the game. Now I know this is a pretty grim picture, but the source material doesn't end on a note of despair. Instead, it finishes with a simple but really powerful call to action. A rebellion, you could say. It starts with a fundamental truth. No matter who you voted for, you and your neighbor probably want the same basic things out of life, right? Safety for your kids, a stable home, an honest way to make a living. You have so much more in common with each other than you ever will with a billionaire donor or a media CEO. And this is where the rebellion comes in. In a world that is practically designed to drive you crazy with outrage, the source argues that the most rebellious thing you can possibly do is to just choose sanity. It's the conscious choice to see the human being in someone else before you see their political label. The analysis even proposes this personal pledge as a real, tangible way to break the spell. It's about taking back control over your own mind, refusing to be programmed to hate, and starving the outrage machine of the only thing it needs to run, our attention.
And the analysis wraps up by bringing in this powerful quote from Martin Luther King Jr. It is such a timeless reminder that violence is always a downward spiral, that fighting hate with more hate just makes more of it. The only way you can ever break that cycle is to introduce something totally different into the equation.
And that leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to chew on. In this whole economy of outrage, what role are we playing? Are we just the passive consumers? Or is our engagement, our anger, the very fuel that keeps this whole machine running? And what would happen if we all just decided to unplug? Definitely something to think about.